Welcome, and thank you for joining the Parent-Child Interaction Therapy Training, where we are focused on helping parents and caregivers put the pieces together one session at a time. This training is being brought to you by FFPSA Regional Prevention Consultants for the University of Tennessee Social Work Office of Research and Public Service, or as we like to call it, SWRPS. Throughout this training, you will learn about the purpose of PCIT, its components, qualifications, treatment techniques, and outcomes. During the training, feel free to jot down any questions you may have and send them to your regional prevention consultant. PCIT is an evidence-based treatment for young children and their caregivers with emotional and behavioral disorders that promotes parent-child interaction by teaching the parents effective child management skills. This is a service that we can use in our non-custodial cases that take insurance and also have a contract with DCS, which can be provided through CSR in those regions. It is essential to note that PCIT is different from play therapy, as play therapy is set up for the therapist to interact with the child directly and then teach skills to parents, whereas PCIT has the parents working directly with the children from the beginning of therapy. PCIT seeks to provide coaching to parents or caregivers that teach new skills that enable them to apply the skills appropriately and master them rapidly. Some of the skills PCIT seeks to impact are the following, but are not limited to: decreasing negative behavior, traditional play therapy skills used to reinforce positive child behavior, and traditional behavior management. While PCIT has many features, here are some core features that are imperative to know when referring parents or caregivers. PCIT is time unlimited with offerings of both in-person and virtual. If PCIT therapy is conducted in person, the therapist is behind a two-way mirror, communicating with the parent via a wireless headset and guiding them through conversation and interaction with the child. If done virtually, the therapy is administered through a web-based platform such as Zoom or Teams, where the parent has a wireless headphones in their ear and receives direct instruction from the therapist while being monitored on camera. Evidence shows that PCIT has been proven to be more effective when done virtually, as the child is in their natural environment. Some qualifying behaviors that PCIT directly provides services to children and adolescents can range from minor disruptive behaviors to more aggressive behaviors, such as noncompliance, aggression, rule breaking, disruptive behavior, dysfunctional attachment with parents, and internalizing symptoms. If we look at it through a prevention lens, we want families in service sooner rather than later before behaviors are extreme. To accomplish the goals of PCIT, the treatment has two phases. Phase 1 is the child-directed interaction phase. It involves the parent following the child lead when using PRIDE skills. PRIDE skills are praise, reflect, imitate, describe, and enjoy. An example of praise would be specific praises such as, "You did a great job stacking those blocks." Reflect is repeating back what the child says, making sure that when repeating back, it doesn't change the meaning of what the child said. An example would be the child saying, "I like pizza." You would repeat back, "Oh, you said you like pizza?" rather than adding extra details such as, "Yeah, you said you like pizza with extra cheese." Imitate is having the child take the lead on doing activities together. If the child is building a bridge with blocks, the parent or caregiver would help build the bridge with the child rather than building something differently. Describe is the parent or caregiver saying what the child is doing so that the child feels seen. For example, "I see you did a great job adding those details to the house you're painting." Enjoy is enjoying the quality time that the parent is spending with the child. The child-directed interaction phase desires favorable outcomes such as decreased negative attention-seeking behaviors such as whining and bossiness, increased feelings of security and safety from the child, improved communication between parents and caregiver and child, enhanced self-esteem, and increased attention span. The intention of this phase is where the relationship between the child and parent or caregiver is being built and is meant to slow everything down. Once the prior skills have been mastered and trust has been established, the therapy moves to the next phase where the caregiver learns disciplinary skills. In the second phase, the parent-directed interaction phase, parents or caregivers learn to use effective commands and implement additional behavior management strategies for any remaining challenging behaviors. The PDI phase integrates components of social learning theory, developmental theory, and behavioral principles. PCIT has 8 guidelines for giving effective commands. It is essential to note that the 8 guidelines described below are most effective after using CDI skills. The first guideline is that a direct command clarifies that the child is being told to do something. This is contrary to an indirect command that often suggests, imply, or ask a child to do something. The second guideline is to make sure that the commands are affirmed. The command should tell the child what to do rather than what not to do. The third guideline is to make sure that the commands are given one at a time. 2- and 3-part commands can be complicated for adults to follow. It can be even more challenging for young children who are often non-compliant or defiant. The fourth guideline is to be specific and tell the child exactly what to do as opposed to vague commands. The fifth guideline is to make sure that the commands are developmentally appropriate. It is unfair and inappropriate to expect the child to follow a direction beyond their current developmental abilities. The sixth guideline is to ensure commands are delivered in a neutral, calm tone of voice. The seventh guideline is to prove a brief reason or explanation before a command. And finally, the 8th guideline is to make sure that the commands are given only when necessary. The parent-directed interaction phase's desired outcome is for a parent to be consistent, predictable, and follow through with behavior management skills. Using these skills, the expectation is for their reassured parent calmness and confidence during discipline, less inappropriate behavior in public, respect of house rules, and less frequency, severity, or duration of aggressive behavior. So, you've all learned about PCIT, but how do we actually get these services to the families we're working with? When using DCS funds, the direct service professional will need to make sure Title IV-E is triggered in the TFAC system. This is done by their FAST score, non-custodial permanency plan, or immediate protection agreement. Once that is completed and Title IV-E is eligible, the direct service professional will need to send an email to the DCS FFPSA coordinator for their region. That person will then enter the case service request once they determine everything in TFACS is appropriate. They will connect the case to the provider to make contact with the direct service professional about their family. Contact is typically completed via email. If the family will be using an insurance-based service, the direct service professional will need to provide the family with the list of providers. In front of you is a flyer that we have created to provide a brief overview for families and DCS frontline professionals. The first flyer you see is for families. Families can scan the QR code at the top and a video will open to explain what PCIT is. The bottom QR code is all of the certified providers in their area. You all may have families who may not need this information right now, but can use it down the road. So leaving this with families might be a good way of preventative services. The second flyer is for internal purposes only. The QR code has the same contact information as the one shared on the previous slide. For the people whom you will reach out to within your regions to get the CSR put in, currently there are providers for all regions except Shelby and South Central, and there are wait lists at times for providers. Thank you for joining this training. If you have any questions in the future, please do not hesitate to reach out to your regional FFPSA prevention consultant. Thank you.